Welcome to First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, the birthplace of congregational humanism. We carry on that tradition of free thought today, dedicated to promoting a free search for truth, meaning, and justice. Our web address is firstunitarian.org. Thank you for joining us.
So this topic that I chose for today, the invitation to liminal space, is I think inspired by an experience that's shared by most, if not all of us, which is this one: to find ourselves at the in-between place, at a threshold. 1 foot in and 1 foot out, not quite gone, not yet arrived, suspended, uncertain, maybe even confused or frightened. Join me for just a moment, inviting that feeling of liminal space into your body. Now, whether or not your particular body has this capacity, imagine running full out, such that there is that moment in between strides when your whole body, both feet are off the ground. And with each step, you feel that lift of air being held aloft, almost flying. You can feel that exhilaration. There's that touch down to the earth, and then another lift, and then down again, and up. But then suddenly, you stop, held aloft as in a freeze frame, suspended, off the ground. Just let yourself hang there. Don't fight it. Allow yourself to be held in the unknown. It's a pretty unfamiliar place to be. Probably a bit uncomfortable. You can let yourself down now. And today I'm just inviting you into that space, that we might savor it and use it. As you know, I recently moved, and while this move into liminal space and time was intentionally chosen, that didn't really change the experience of being there. Things had been comfortable. I knew well the systems and the people in the congregation I was serving. Everything in my home had a place, and I knew where that place was. I could bike the route to the office knowing where the potholes were and when the trains would cross. I knew where to get my groceries and where to get my hair cut. I had established patterns and ways of being. It was known. There was solid ground beneath me. And then, as is the way as an interim minister, I had to leave to imagine a new ministry, to subject myself to the matching process, which offered several enticing possibilities, including this one, along with some less enticing ones. To give notice on my apartment before I knew which city I was moving to, let alone on which particular street or in what particular space I would make my home, allowing myself to be absorbed into the wind of change without knowing where or when I would be put back on solid ground. Now, I'm sure many of you have moved, maybe even recently. It involves a lot of letting go. Certainly of some stuff, but more crucially, letting go of knowing. I can really identify with the words of author David Foster Wallace, who said, "Everything I have ever let go of has claw marks on it." Entering liminal space is often proceeding by digging in our heels, by doubting for all kinds of reasons. It involves change and grief, which stirs up all kinds of anxiety. So who would want to do that? Who would want to hang out in that space? You know, it's really common among clergy when we discuss together some issue brewing in a congregation to say, oh, there's a lot of anxiety in the system, which is a shorthand alternative way for telling familiar tales about people acting unkindly and out of character, about leaders and staff over or under functioning, about relationships breaking down over what in other times would have been easy to negotiate differences of opinion. When we start to enter unknown territory, uncertainty can cause all kinds of anxiety and all kinds of acting out. And I think it's all because we're not very good at existing in liminal space or at allowing ourselves to be held by the winds of change. We don't know how or when to release our hold on our identities, or to let go of having it our way, or to trust that what is essential will not be lost. I mean, where and how have you been taught how to be in liminal space? We enter it so many times in our lives, and yet no one tells us how to do it. We haven't learned how to do it. But what if we simply embrace the unknown and just let go? What if we welcomed the opportunity to learn new ways of being? See if you can again kind of capture that feeling of being suspended between. What can we learn from being in that space? Yes, of course, while held there, we may need to intentionally grieve the solid ground and known territory that we've left. But as we hang out there, perhaps we begin to get accustomed to not knowing. Perhaps we get better at having beginner's mind, to learn to loosen, to let go, to release our grasp on what we thought was necessary, all of which leaves us the space to recognize the essential parts of who we are, and also to create the space for new things to emerge. Now, I'm not suggesting that we're always ready for change or that every change is good. Nor is it true that everything we're asked to release is of little value. People we love die or move or unfriend us. Our bodies change. Treasured objects break. Decisions are made by others that shift the landscape we're comfortable in. We feel like we're losing control. Ministers move on. Now, long ago, before I figured out my purpose in life, I did a lot of therapy. And one therapist had a print on her wall that showed a person standing on the edge of a cliff. For the life of me, I cannot now pull back those exact words, but it said something like, leap and the net will appear, or what if your wings don't appear until you step into the unknown? Whatever it said, those words moved me. It helped me to accept that the unknown, the place where I was not in control, is exactly, maybe even only, the place where I could really learn to fly. The interim period in the life of this congregation is liminal space. Welcome or not, comfortable or not, it offers you the time and the space to learn to let go, to release ways of being that don't serve you anymore, to open yourselves to new ideas. Because no matter how hard we grasp, we cannot stop change from happening. Grasping will not stave off the reality of needing to let go. It only makes it harder and slower and more painful. Perhaps like me, you've had the experience of taking a small child to the playground, holding them up to the monkey bars, where the rings are bigger than their tiny hands could even yet grip, on a structure hanging below, the structure that's built for beings who are older and taller and stronger. And then while holding them up there, encouraging them to let go with one hand, just long enough to try to grasp the next bar. You can do it. It's okay. Grab the bar with the other hand, I gotcha. See? You can do it. You can do hard things. One hand at a time, knowing you're held. Well, maybe it's not an easy metaphor to embrace, but still, life moves us along as if swinging from monkey bars, or sometimes even more like a flying trapeze. We have to let go in order to move forward, and letting go is the only way to move toward whatever's waiting for us. Still, as you may know firsthand, monkey bars and trapezes inherently involve a scary in-between place, between places that feel solid and trustworthy, between those places where we feel safe. And I think that's a lot like interim ministry. Now, I don't mean to imply that I'm the one holding you up. I'm not some great savior with all the answers. Rather, I mean that I believe that liminal space itself will hold you up. Liminal space, in its fog and in the vagueness of the unknown, you will be held. And in that space, because of that space, you will eventually find the strength to see and to make the next appropriate move. It's okay. No rush. You'll get there. You have everything you need to do hard things. Now, I have already learned that you're a congregation who likes to accomplish things. I know you're in a hurry to move through this, but I want to encourage you to slow down and savor the unknown. Things can happen in liminal space that can't happen anywhere else. It's just this incredibly rich place to hang out if we allow ourselves to be there. We are right now, and maybe for the next year, maybe two, are in this in-between place together, a liminal space, and we're going to get to know the wilderness that it offers us intimately, the place between the known and the unknown. And I really encourage you to try to be grateful for this time. There's been a lot of change. Societal shifts in religiosity, a pandemic, an endemic, Zoom church, continuing social isolation, a longtime minister's leaving, a breakdown in trust, decisions made about who will or won't be your next minister. These are, in different ways for different folks, painful changes and losses. For some, they're scary, for others, unwanted, and for a few, they're welcome. If you are going to come through this time of transition as a healthy and loving and whole community, then paying attention to the consequences and the gifts of change, the need to grieve and let go, these are the things that are the tasks at hand. You and who you are together and liminal space are the only tools we need for transformation. If a new beginning, a preferred future is to emerge, we need to clear out and create space for what is yet to come into being. We come by our claw marks honestly. Important things have been lost, and beloved things are yet to be lost. So let's name our pain and honor that, and then let us together take a leap, embrace the unknown, and just hang there. We'll hang out together, doing the work of articulating what's essential, creating space for something new, and offering gratitude for the gift of liminal space. May it be so.
Thanks for listening. You can find much more about humanism and what's happening at First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis by visiting our website at firstunitarian.org.